In a world dominated by online outrage where legislation is being crafted to combat the words we use, the question remains, are we ignoring the lives we should be saving? Australia's new Communications Legislation Amendment, Bill 2024, promises to combat online misinformation, the goal to protect democracy, public health, and social cohesion. But while we're fighting the so-called war on words, there's a darker crisis growing in the shadows: human trafficking. The bill targets verifiably false content likely to cause a serious harm. Examples include false claims about elections or anti-vax conspiracies. But let's be honest, most misinformation offends or misleads. It rarely threatens lives directly. Yet governments and platforms are spending millions regulating what can and can't be said. Why? Because it's easy. It's easy to measure engagement, flag posts, and fine platforms. It's harder to tackle systemic issues like human trafficking, issues that cost lives every single day. Here's the harsh truth. Human trafficking is skyrocketing. The United Nations reports millions of victims worldwide: women, children, even men. Traffickers recruit online through fake job ads, exploit victims via encrypted apps, and profit in the billions. This isn't just a hidden crime. It's right there, on the platforms these laws are supposed to regulate. The government says it's protecting society by addressing misinformation, and yes, words have power. But consider this. Human trafficking doesn't just harm feelings. It breaks bodies, destroys families, and perpetuates cycles of poverty and exploitation. Why isn't that the legislative priority? Here's why. Misinformation is loud, visible, and easy to regulate. Human trafficking is hidden, complex, and demands real resources. It requires law enforcement cooperation, cross-border alliances, and accountability from tech platforms. Tackling trafficking doesn't generate clickbait headlines or quick political wins, but it saves lives. If we really want to use legislation to benefit society, here's what needs to happen. 1. Mandate anti-trafficking systems on platforms. Just as the Misinformation Bill forces platforms to address harmful speech, we need mandatory measures against trafficking content. This includes AI systems to detect recruitment ads, fake job offers, and illicit activity on the dark web. 2. Establish a global digital task force. Trafficking networks operate across borders. Australia must lead a coalition of governments, NGOs, and platforms to share intelligence, develop tools, and disrupt these networks at their core. 3. Public awareness campaigns. Did you know most trafficking victims are recruited online? Imagine if governments spent as much on educating people about trafficking as they do on misinformation warnings. 4. Data transparency and reporting. The bill includes transparency requirements for platforms handling misinformation. Why not extend this to trafficking? Platforms should report suspected trafficking activity directly to law enforcement, with whistleblower protections for employees who uncover negligence. 5. Survivor support and rehabilitation. Legislation should allocate funding to help victims rebuild their lives. From housing to job training, this is how we break the cycle of exploitation. If we prioritize human trafficking in our online safety laws, here's what we can achieve. Lives saved from physical and emotional abuse, criminal networks dismantled, a digital space that protects the vulnerable instead of exploiting them, and a society that doesn't just talk about justice, but acts on it. The Australian Communications Legislation Amendment Bill is a step toward limiting speech, but it's not the right focus. While we fight over words, traffickers are stealing lives. Let's demand that our leaders look beyond what's offensive and tackle what's deadly. Raise your voice, share this video, and let's push for the laws that will actually save lives. For resources or to learn more, visit the links below. Together we can make a difference. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for hard-hitting insights. Share this to spark change.